Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Life Off the Bench. Um, Tonight's show talks about what is life, what is it to live life, the absence of family structure, the importance of evolving, the importance of health, and the importance of living life and having purpose within your life. Today, our panelists are Chad Wilson, Alfred Collier. What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Great. How are you?
Bless,
Awesome,
bless.
awesome. Hey, y'all know what to do, man. Just go ahead and do it.
All right.
All right. I'm Chad Wilson. I reside in Louisiana. I am an educator of 22 years, uh, athletic coach within the community, also in the school setting, um, activist for children within the community, and just great. And just having a great time, and I'm happy to be here.
That's what's up. Appreciate it.
All right. My name is Alfred Collier. I reside in Chicago, Illinois, Country Club Hills, actually, to be exact. and I'm retired military, and I am a mentor in my community. Been mentoring for 10 years.
That's what's up. I'm the host, moderator, Hobart Grayson, Louisiana native, Louisiana resident. Um, I'm also a youth mentor, youth advocator. I give a lot of my good time to youth because it's just nothing else that I'd rather be doing. So um, here on Life Off the Bench, we want to talk about real topics and try to give real solutions. Um, our panel of some of our experts aren't here yet. They're coming. Help is on the way. So until then, you got us three men giving our unbiased opinions on what is life. Speaking of what is life, let's get going, man. Life, what life is defined by, by the dictionary um, as the existence of an individual, human being, or animal. So,
Mm.
with that being said, it's gonna seem a little strange now, but it's just the facts of what's defined as life. Without the existence of breath, we can't be here. Um,
Correct.
we can't live without breath in our bodies.
Correct.
So with life, um, man, it's kind of like the beginning and the end. Like, what is your purpose here on life? What are you trying to do?
Ah,
What are some of
yeah.
the goals that you want to achieve, attain? The importance of all those things. So sometimes the end has to meet the beginning and the middle in order for you to be who or what it is that you are purposed to be. We will also talk about family structure or the absence thereof. Um, Talk about family systems, meaning programs and communities that can help kids be successful in life, learn how to be successful in life, and again, the importance of evolving as an individual, the importance of health and keeping good health, and again, what is your purpose here on life? Um, Chad, talk about what you think about the definition of life and what it means to you.
Well, well, as you read it, and I think I read the same exact definition. Uh, and off camera, I said that was so surface.
Yes.
And what I thought whenever I first read that question was that it has so many layers to it. But if I could describe it in one sentence or one phrase, is a sum of experiences. Life is a sum of experiences, and we know in living life, if you keep waking up every morning, then some of those experiences are going to be good or favorable, and then some of them are going to be what we consider to be not so good or not so favorable. But I think it's how we respond to those experiences is what defines our life. All right. And you touched on it a little bit earlier too, talking about purpose. And I know we're going to talk about that in a little later. But when we could coincide the purpose with our life, then our experiences will be a whole lot richer.
Right.
And yeah, I'm gonna tell you it for our listeners and everything. Don't think that we have all of the answers or we just came up with this, and all. It took a long time. I put it like this: I wasn't able to respond to this question like this when I was 18. My 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 answer to this question when I was 18, or maybe when I was 15 or 12, would have been a whole lot different. But it has a lot to do with maturity and where you are in life that you could define it in this type of manner.
Right. I agree. Alfred.
Okay. I understand the definition that you read, and I heard that, and I'm gonna
Double
agree
down.
with
Double
some.
down.
I'm gonna agree with what some of Chad said, and I wanna narrow it down to, like he said, that there's several levels to this, according to that definition, because you were including everything. So basically, what we're going to try to do is bring it down to where we're at tonight, and that's talking about us as humans and our communities. And life is a reflection of the ideals and faith you hold in your heart. The life is where you live. Life is where you conduct your everyday decisions. And I like what Chad said about your experiences, because your experiences makes your life what it is. Because if if you're just caught into one area of your life and you just live in one spot, that's all you know.
Right.
So if you never move around, if you never travel, then you all you know about life is that where you at. And
Right.
that to some people may be strange, or they may see it as a waste, you know.
Hmm.
But life itself, I see it, your experiences and the decisions you make in life. So
Right.
I would say that's life.
Um. What is it to live life? Man. When I think about that, the first thing that comes to mind is Bernie Mac and the Kings of Comedy, and when he's talking about people going to work and they go to break and they eat their cheese and crackers, and 15 minutes later they back off break. Myself personally, I don't think that's living life. Life is more than work. It has to be well rounded and groomed in faith and belief, and you have to you have to be able to think of others sometimes first in living life, before you think of yourself. And we always think of our kids first in living life, but sometimes honestly in order for us to grow and evolve, we need to think about some people that aren't directly bred into the fabric of what we feel, think, and believe. So living life is it's a great it's a great everyday thing. It's definitely better than the alternative. We all know what the alternative is. That's death. But you have to you have to be willing to go out and stand on something. Um, a great pastor in the DFW Metroplex area, and I always this has stuck with me now for probably almost 30 years. He always said you got to get out there, do nothing, and do something. And that's what life is. You got to get out there, do nothing, and do something in order to leave your imprint, because how you're remembered will be based off of that theory and philosophy of what you did while you was here. Alfred?
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because earlier when I was talking about how some people just stay in one area, and I'm not criticizing them for that because I have friends that I grew up with. I mean, and they're still living in the same hometown, and everything is great, and I admire them for it because they were able to do something that I just wouldn't, I didn't feel right about doing. Uh,
Right.
and it brought me back. This subject brought me back to understanding why, uh, just refreshing in my mind why I left is because I come from a small town in Georgia, and factory jobs at that time were the big thing to do. Once you got a factory job, you could retire in this factory, right? So I had a
Right.
factory job, and I worked at another little job, part-time job, and then, but just going into that factory every day, doing the same routine stuff, that just didn't coincide with, like I said earlier, my idea and faith of what life should be, or what my life should be. So after after that was one of the reasons that made me join the Navy. That was one of the real reasons that I really joined the Navy. First was to take care of my family and to secure a job that I could take care of my family with and grow. And secondly was to have the opportunity to travel, meet other people, see life in other places, you know. So when I joined the Navy and had an opportunity to travel overseas and meet other people, I for myself, I didn't have to hear it from someone or watch it on TV. I could see it for myself. We were all humans. We all needed the basic same things in life.
Right.
So it was a wonderful experience. The 20 years that I did, meeting people, different people from, we didn't all like each other, or we didn't all, it wasn't all, you know, all a happy party every time, but you still get to see and experience different people and their different ways, attitudes, uh, how they carry about themselves, go about themselves, and you can learn and differentiate what it is that you would like to incorporate in your life and why. So I think the ability to understand others in this experience called life, and to be able to move around, to be able to hear the other person's and understand that life is not a one-way road, that we're all in this thing together. We all have the same basic same needs, and if we could just all get along as humans, we would be okay.
Just to piggyback a little bit off of what you're saying, I too grew up in, now it's a little bit bigger, but it was a small town whenever I grew up. And I was fortunate enough to have parents who made a lot of sacrifices so that I could have the most, I guess, rich experiences that they were afforded. And then from that, I was able to forge, with going to college and that whole experience, and then becoming a professional, and then moving to different places and seeing different things, going to different cities, visiting different cities, living in different cities. You have an opportunity to see what's really important to you. How do you really want to live? Where do you want to live? How do you want to live? And you realize that how you came up is not the only way that people come up.
Right.
So, you have I had the ability to, like you were in Navy, I had the opportunity to visit some other countries through, different experiences. That's why I said some of experiences. So all those things kind of shape, who you are, what type of person you want to be. Even in meeting different people, and during my college experience, you meet different people from different faiths, different walks, different countries, different ideals, different thought processes. All those different things, they have an impression on you, and you get to formulate what type of person you want to be. And that's why sometimes I get a little frustrated with folks who want to stay in their own little microcosm. It's like tasting new food. I can remember as a kid, all I wanted to eat was red beans and rice every day. And I'd look at broccoli and say, I ain't eating that, but it wasn't until you step out a little bit. And even if it's only to experience it one time, say, hey, at least you can say, hey, I did that, so, I think, it gives you the opportunity to choose, what type of life you would like to live, whenever you step out and experience new things.
Right.
Exactly. And those things we can use also in mentoring. I try to use my experiences and draw from my experiences, and understand other people, and understand youth, because I understand the fact that I have to be patient with them and understand that they haven't seen or experienced things yet. And that's the main thing that I have to stay mindful of.
Right.
They're talking, but they don't have an experience to go with that talk, so they really don't know what it is to go with the talking that they're doing, and what it takes to get to where they're trying to get to. So my position as a mentor is to try to help them see further down the road, and see what it takes to actually achieve the goals that they're trying to achieve, the reality parts of it.
And with
So,
mentoring,
yeah,
just
go
to
ahead.
piggyback on what you're saying, I talk to a lot of young people too. It's to for them to not be limited and know that they have options. Some of them, because they can't see past their circumstance, they don't know that they have options, or what to do to create those options for themselves. Because we describe it like having $10 or $5 and going to the value menu. You could get this number two, and it costs $5, but you only get one
Right.
thing. Whereas if you go
One
to the
thing.
dollar menu with that $5, you
You
can
get
get five things.
five.
So
Well, excuse me. You
it's
can get
having
four
options.
things. You can get four things. There's gonna be some tax on that fifth one.
But just having options, especially young people, they don't they don't have the afterthought to know that if I do this, this will create these things for me. So that's why it's important for us to be able to, to inspire them in that way.
Yeah, and yeah, and and it broadens their horizon. It helps them to reach for higher goals, even though they may come to you in the beginning saying, "I want to be this" or "I want to do that." Once you get their head, get their little minds to spinning again, and then they can start reaching higher and say, "No, I can actually go further. I can go and do this." So it's amazing. It's great to see them dream. That's my main thing, is to try to get them to dream, man. And unfortunately, in some of the neighborhoods I work in, that's one of the questions I ask those young men. And it's like, do you have dreams? And some of them, unfortunately, say no. They just don't have any dreams. And then I have to keep reiterating it to them. Hey, it's okay to dream. It's okay to have a dream, because out of that dream becomes your goals.
Let me help you out here. So, growing up in disenfranchised, impoverished neighborhoods, sometimes it's not always someone there telling kids that they can be great, they can be fantastic, that they don't have to be who society or their environment tells them that they have to be. So if a kid doesn't know how to dream, it's because not always is it someone there telling them that they have that they can dream, or it's their right to dream. So in the process of that, how do we get kids to understand? And Chad talked about this earlier. He said when he was 18 or so, he couldn't imagine understanding the definition of life or what it is to live life. And so how do we, as we're elders now, Alfred's 56, 57, Chad's 42, 45. And I just made 50 a couple of months ago. So now we're the elders in the community. How do we help get these young kids to a place to where their dream is something more than having a Challenger with 24-inch rims on it with mega bass coming out the trunk, or they've seen the drug dealers getting away with selling drugs forever, and shit, all they want to do is be a drug dealer. That's not living life. How do we impose that dreaming helps you be whatever you want to be? How do we help them get to that point?
Well, I think it goes back.
There's only two of us. Y'all can just take turns.
I think I think the best thing, or the thing that I've prescribed to, is exposure. Sometimes within certain communities, disenfranchised communities, to be honest, sometimes it doesn't even have to do with their socio-economic status. Sometimes even the parents who work a lot and can provide and do a lot don't support a lot. Don't support and cultivate their dreams. So the thing is, you have to expose kids to things. Like I said earlier, my parents didn't have very much, but within the resources that they had in the community that I grew up in, and the people who I had around me, they made sacrifices so that I could be a part. I can remember every summer visiting Dillard University and Centenary University in Shreveport, and it wasn't even my parents who brought me there. It was church members. So I think you were saying we the elders of the community, we need to take it a point to impart these options for them. We need to take, if a kid has a desire to go, to, let's say, trade school or whatever, we should try to cultivate that. We should try to expose them to that and show them, hey, this is what it's going to take in order for you to do that. And not only show them what it will take or tell them what it will take, but also help them to achieve those things. And it's whatever it is that they want to do. And I guess we need to know who they are and kind of help them to overcome and knock down those barriers that are preventing them. I know, I had a youth sports organization, and the one thing that I'm really, really proud of is the fact that participation has never been tied to their ability to pay. Now, of course, we cannot, operate without, those,
funding.
monetary, funding. However, but if there's we have a little network to where if there's a kid that does not have the ability, we go out and seek, a way for that kid's, fees to be paid or forgiven. So it's more things like that that's going to help. And those kids will have that experience. They'll talk about it for, like you said, a lifetime, because it's one of those experiences that was very, very positive and impactful in their lives. And we need to create more of those experiences for the kids who need them the most.
Yeah, I can remember when I was in high school and I was a decent wrestler, right? So I had a few opportunities to go to college off of just wrestling, right? So, but I didn't have anyone to walk me through the process. So I didn't know of anyone, and I didn't reach out to anyone. And it was basically the coach would introduce me to these coaches from the colleges. I never even visited a college when I was in high school. So I heard about college, I knew they exist, but I never for myself went and visited and had a tour or anything, and never went through the process of how do you enter the college, what it takes. So I didn't have that. So even though I was like I said, a decent wrestler, I had scholarship offers, but I didn't know the process. So it didn't mean no good. So I ended up working and then eventually going into the military. So it is very like to what to emphasize what Chad is saying is we really need to understand who we're working with and what their needs are so we can be able to uh, assist them in the areas that they are falling short in or where we know that they're going to need that assistance at. Because a lot of these youth have parents that, like I said, do not know the process. And it can be frustrating if you don't, and
Right.
they'll get frustrated and they won't follow through with it. So you your youth will lose an opportunity, a lifetime opportunity, you know, because of that, just not knowing. And then what I'd like to, when I was stationed in New Orleans, I told you guys this before. There was this group called, they had a group there, and it was what it called, World of Works is what it was called back then. And they would actually assign youth to different types of jobs in the community and allow them to go out and serve 8 hours just observing how the people at work. They would shadow people at their jobs, and they would see what it meant to be at a job, what it meant to do work. And I thought that was a wonderful idea, a noble idea, because
Hmm.
when a child, when the youth graduates from high school, we expect them to just go out there and become something, and they don't even have an idea of what they're going to become because they've never been exposed to anything. So
Right.
I really understand when Chad said, need to expose them to these things. We need that's uh, now my church here does a trip every year. Annually, they do a trip where they put the kids on buses and they go and visit schools, HBCU schools, and they learn about the process, what it takes to join on these schools, what your grades have to be, what kind of money you're going to need, and things like that. They give them the whole experience. That was something that I thought I wish I would have had that opportunity when I was young, but I didn't. But God is good, and He's taking care of me. So uh, I just I just believe that He did that so I can be an assistance to someone else. So I really believe in uh, supporting the youth and seeing them in fruition, their dreams come true. So yeah, I think that is a thing that we need in our communities to stay connected and to assist each other.
And you would think being in the information age, and that with young people having
Yeah.
uh,
Don't
access
say that.
to all the
Yeah.
information, that there would be no need. Like you said, your story is similar to my story in that my parents, my mother went to community college to be a office admin, and my father was a truck driver. All right, so they both didn't go to college per se, a 4-year university. However, they had the wherewithal to know I can't. I don't put him in the hands of some people first exposed to college by a church member. And again, growing up, I grew up Methodist. Uh, there were Methodist universities that was in our uh, network of churches that we visited those colleges, and that was like the beginning of, hey, look, you know what, this college thing, it might be something that I want to do. But it was those exposures. And I know that we have some families who have those barriers, but like you said, we as community elders and community leaders need to have programs where we expose kids to, and it's not just college, because guess what, every kid is not going to go to college, but to
No, no.
career opportunities. uh,
Right.
have them to experience those things so that they can be productive as adults, and like the title today, have purpose. All right, because I don't think there's any person, a young person, who wants to be lost, uh, going through society and going through life. They want to have a
Yep.
meaningful and purposeful existence here on
And
earth.
and
You
like you said, they have so much access right now that it's it's just so, and the kids are smart. I mean, they're really smart. When you give them an opportunity, you will be surprised. If you direct them in the right way and you allow them to do it, you'll be surprised how they'll come up with the answers. So um, it doesn't take a Herculean type thing. This is what I try to explain to people who want to be a mentor. It's not like you got to be some superhero or something. All you have to do is just show them how you're living, how you're getting by, and they'll draw from that, and they'll be able to direct themselves into the direction that they trying to go to. So I don't look at it as a something special or that I'm doing, because I get just more joy out of it than they do probably, and I listen to them a lot and try to keep up with what's going on. So I believe it to be One of those things that we're missing is our communications in our community. And if we can get back to that, we'd be, I think we could do it a whole lot better. And I was reading some of the information that Hobart sent out to us, and I was just kind of shocked when I was reading this one paragraph in here about how they say uh, the difference. There is not the difference between African American male fathers. Uh, they was discussing the fact that how within the household, the black couples generally subscribe to egalitarian and flexible gender roles, while American fathers of all races and ethnicities are generally more involved with the care of their young children than in decades past. Black fathers, both those who live with and live apart from their children, are more likely than white or Hispanic fathers to feed or eat meals with, bathe, diaper, or dress, and play or read to their children on a daily basis. And and that one kind of caught me off guard because maybe I'm living in a different bubble, but because the majority of the men that I affiliate with, I I I see them every day supporting their youth, supporting their kids. You know, they
All
doing
right.
these things, but so
1 second, Alfred. All right, so
yeah,
we're moving on. We're going to be talking about the absence of family structure systems. Um, Alfred kind of got into it already, and we'll be talking some of the information that we'll use is coming from childtrends.org, and it's itifstudies.org. So those are some of the places where we'll be drawing information from. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna let Alfred continue, but I want to put another little tidbit up on the screen for you guys to check out real quick before he continues. And when I come back, I'll read to you guys what it says, and we'll go from there. All right, so real quick, let me run over there real quick with you guys for you guys. Um, Give me 1 second, John. I'm trying to find what I did with it because I had to take a picture. But it's basically saying that in this process, in this process of life, um, that we've always valued, the things, I'm going to say simplistic things because family marriage, um, having and taking care of kids, in my family, and I'm gonna just use my grandfather for an example because that was, you know, a male that I was around a lot. And so he took pride in being married to my grandmother. He took pride in taking care of my mother. He took pride in making sure that we as his grandkids were good. And so the the men that I grew up around, some of them were about family oriented values, family oriented structure, and some weren't. It's not something that you can predict. It's what you're raised with. It's what you're given the morals and values that you're taught while you're being reared as a young man or a young lady. And so we can't get away from that position of is family structure and family values, is it, is it too much? Is it really too much? Because sometimes people act like family structure is just whipping their asterisk. Chad?
No, I think is that. Go ahead, Chad.
No, you go. Well, I think when we think about the family structure of our, ancestors and everything, with our grandparents and all, they had a certain ideal of how the family structure should be. As time progressed and situations progressed, uh, and there's a bunch of different societal things that happen, that the family structure changed, and it became a little bit more dynamic. I can remember, and I just want to jump on it quick. Like when I had my grandfather. I don't remember what war it was, but he went to war, and when he came back, you could imagine it's probably in the 1920s, 30s, or what have you. I don't know. He couldn't find work. All right, and finances put a strain on marriages. I mean, even today, finances put a strain on marriages. Um, once proud man, farmer comes back, with military experience, driving trucks and everything, couldn't get a truck driving job. He was reduced to being the man who rode the ice wagon. You know, so those types of things put strain on family structures. Now we're in a day and time. We're not even going to talk about drugs, or we probably will talk about drugs. We'll talk about drugs infused into our communities. We talk about the welfare system, which was said that encouraged women. You could get these benefits, but you could not have anyone living in your home, a male living in your home. Those types of things put a strain on family structures, along with now the earning potential of both persons, and those ideologies coming in, where instead of the black family working in concert, they're working in conflict. And so in some situations, so that too creates a whole different look of this family structure. So it's multifaceted, it's very complex why it is the way it is now. And that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, and
Right.
I understand what you're saying, and I thought you were gonna go ahead and go on, and then with all these, and you have all the different constructs of what family is today. Uh, I've been in circles and talked to people, and they're saying, you have multiple uh, partners in the house. Then you got the gender issues going on,
Oh,
so
yes.
you got to account for. So we're evolving, and like you said, things are changing. So we're having to just adjust to all the changes that's going on in society, and the fact that it may have, our youth have trying to catch up with this thing. They're trying to figure this thing out too. So I can see how right now, as we're going through these processes and learning, that some things are going to get left out, and it's up to us to try to fill in those voids as much as we can. And and it's even kind of difficult for us, because we're trying to keep up with this stuff. And with all the information that's coming out now every day, I mean, it's like you got things going on everywhere around the world, and the world is so much smaller now with the information age that it's really upon us to try to keep up with it so we can funnel the correct information now to our youth, because there's so many different aspects out there now that it's hard to say, hey, what's your faith, what do you believe, and trying to because I mean people are trying to right now, uh, they can condone just about anything now. I mean, it's like
Right.
it's like they condone anything, man. It's pretty much you like, okay, well, where we at today? You know, you have to ask yourself. So it's hard to say what is and what ain't right now. But as far as I'm concerned, I really believe that you do at least need two parents in the home. I know we have the community aspect of the situation because our kids go outside of our homes. Let's just live up, own that one. They're gonna go outside your home. They're gonna pick up stuff and learn stuff from outside your home in your community. But you have to be able to reinforce with them, sit down and listen and talk to them about, hey, this is the reason we do this, and that's the reason they do that. You know what I'm saying? Or that's the reason they told you this. So you have to keep them lines of communications open.
So
So
let's look at this right here. And this is still in the realm of family structure.
right, and we have to keep thinking, hoping now that family structure thing. Like I say, it's. And I heard Chad say it's a mini.
Hmm.
things happen. People get divorced, move away, uh, long distance parenting. You have to look at that type stuff. It it can be challenging.
Let's look at um, single parent homes versus two parent homes. And I know in the process of that, when I think about it, um, it seems like now you have to give more love and special attention to kids that come from two parent homes because they're jealous. And yeah, I use the word jealous. They're jealous of sometimes of the freedom that kids that come from single parent homes have, and that because they may be able to do this because the mother is at work or the father is at work, and so now when they get out of school, they have all the free time to do whatever it is they want to sneak and be sneaky and do, or whatever they are. As my mama used to say, whatever you think you was big and bad enough to do,
But
you
that's
know, they want to.
because they're youth and they don't understand. And
Mhm.
you can't just say sit down in the house and wait on me to come home. You have to explain to them as a two house parent, coming from a two home parent house, why we say these things to you. Why we say we understand little Johnny is running around in the neighborhood doing what he want to do because his mom is single parent, whoever it is, parent, mother, daddy, are going to work. So he's out doing what he do. So you have to explain and understand make an understanding with your kid why that is happening,
Right.
and try to as much as possible because they're youth now. We still talking about youth, and their peers have a lot of weight on them, so they're gonna
Yes.
listen to what their peers say.
Right.
Believe it or not, they're gonna listen to what their peers say, and they're gonna watch their peers. And like you said, I don't think they're jealous. I just think they're kids and they see it and they're like, this look exciting to me,
But
and you have to explain to them why it's not.
from a bird's eye vantage point, and this is, I try not to be judgmental or anything of anyone because that's not what we're here for. But when you look at it and you see that Lil Hobart, who had both of his parents in the house with him while he was growing up, uh, and
But their situations are different. So
well, wait a minute, let me finish, please. And some of the things that he see his friends that are only have the mother in the house, well, that where they may be talking back and being, I'm not going to say full blown throttle disrespectful, but where they may say some stuff that they shouldn't say. And now Hobart comes home and he wants to see how much or how far he can push the button to see what he can say. Well, all that I think that breaks or begins to break the bond of what family structure and values are supposed to be, because a good man isn't going to allow his child to disrespect his house or his wife or his other siblings, as per where sometimes if the mother is 5'3", the child is 6 feet tall or 6 feet 5, and he's a big bulky kid, and sometimes the mother may be a slight bit intimidated if she's not a bold, boisterous woman, and that happens a lot, and that's not just a black culture or community issue. That happens in every ethnicity, where
oh yeah,
sometimes kids become overbearing to their parents, and before you know it, they're getting hey, I want new Jordans. Well, damn, son, how's she supposed to pay for the rent if she only makes this much, but she's having to go out and buy you the cool grays that just came out this week, and they may be $295, depending on where you get them from. So
yeah.
how do we bring that back to a balance to where kids understand that, hey, everything that glitters in the sunlight doesn't mean that it's metal or money, or even that it's gold, but that it may be fool's gold, and we need to teach them how to see and understand the difference.
Well, Hobart, I'm gonna say this to all you parents out there who have not gone through this yet. Uh, that's to be expected, Hobart. Like I was explaining earlier, your youth, when they go outside your house, those peers have a lot of weight on them, so they learn a lot from their peers. So they're gonna bring, like you say, they're gonna bring it back to the house and they're gonna try to push the envelope. That's what youth do. That gives you an opportunity. You should look at it as an opportunity, not a challenge. Look at it as an opportunity at that point in time to sit them down and explain to them what the differences are. Now, their friend, whomever that is, may be doing that out of necessity because he's used to dealing with grown-ups out outside of his house because his mother is gone. So he's having to deal with people by himself. And he may be doing that for survival because he has to go out and get something to eat or get something to drink or while she's gone, you know. So he's learning in his own way, developing his own self skills, uh, how to deal with people. Now you at home with you can explain to them how to deal with people and show them by your actions how you deal with people. So my thing is, yes, you're gonna if parents out there, the, the diagram Homer just gave y'all, it's gonna happen. I don't care who you think, what house you in, it's gonna happen because kids are gonna push boundaries. That's what they do.
And you know what? Believe it or
Chad. You know I don't like cutting people off, but I got to. I want to give you something else. All right.
all right.
I covered it that well.
Yeah, you didn't do a bad job. No, I just again just try to keep it interesting. So this is from ifstudies.org, which you see on the screen. It says family structure and poverty. First, family breakdown fuels poverty. On average, even high school dropouts who are married have a far lower poverty rate than single parents with several years of college. But family structure has the biggest impact on children, according to Raj Shetty, the preeminent researcher of the topic of social mobility. Having fathers in the neighborhood is a primary factor in predicting upward income mobility for the children in that neighborhood later in life, even when controlling for other variables such as the available schools, race, or ethnicity. In part, that's because family structure influences the choices that children will make, controlling for race and parental income. Boys raised without their fathers are much more likely to use drugs, engage in violent or criminal behavior, or go to jail and drop out of school. Girls, meanwhile, are more likely to engage in early sexual activities or have a child out of wedlock. Children without fathers in the home are even more likely to suffer from mental health problems as adults. I know that was a lot. I know that was a lot. Um, I know that was a lot, Chad, but how much of it did you grasp? Um,
Handle it, Chad. Handle it.
Well, it's been my experience. I can't speak for anybody else or whatever, but just dealing with young people in schools, and I've been in a bunch of different varieties of schools. I taught in inner city Chicago, and I also taught in New Orleans, and then even in some more suburban areas in Louisiana. And it's been my experience that students, it's not an absolute. I want to make sure that I say that as well. It's not an absolute,
That's right.
but
That's right.
students who have dad present and active in their life, are a whole lot more stable as it relates to, you know, the everyday comings and goings. Um, um, it just seems like they have a more foothold on what's acceptable and what's not. I guess fathers, in that sense, I guess, are the standard bearers for their values in life. Not that mom doesn't set standards and in single parent homes and everything, but I guess, and it's just my opinion, fathers enforce those different values and standards. Um, I was just thinking about the example you gave earlier. You say it seems like the kids that come from a two-parent home, when exposed to a kid who's been in a single parent home, they push the boundaries and test the boundaries and they envy one. But really, to be honest, they both envy one another, because they envy the on one hand, the kid that comes from the two-parent home envies the freedom that they think, the perceived freedom that they think that kid has.
Perceive.
Yeah. And the kid who comes from the single parent home longs for the structure in which and the amenities that a kid that comes from a stable two-parent home comes from as well. I see it on both ends, and especially with high school kids. I can remember there's one situation where we had a kid whose mother who came from a single parent home. He was disappointed. He understood and was very mature about it, but he longed for the opportunity for his mom to come see him play. His years that he played at our school, his mother was never able to see him play. She created the opportunity for him to play. She provided all of what he needed in order to play, but he valued the fact that, hey, look, all of my buddies, their parents, some of the kids didn't even play, and this kid actually played. He longed for the opportunity for his mom to come see him play. And so we, as coaches, we kind of made that happen for him, and man, the kid, it made his world. That's why I say that, it's perceived. They think that they want what each of them have, but I'm telling you, the stability of a two-parent home, a healthy two-parent home, I'll say it like that, because there's some kids who come up in dysfunctional two-parent homes and they have just as many problems as a kid that has, or challenges. I say not problems, but challenges as a kid that comes from a single-parent home. So your original question was, is there any truth to that? I see it in the school system. I do see it. When I look at my statistical data, because I work in discipline, a lot of the times when you break down the subgroups of who gets in trouble, how often they get in trouble, what's their family structures, a large percentage of them, and this is not and it doesn't have to do with any particular race either. Children who come from single parent homes, they have those issues, those challenges, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because they're forced to behave and do things a different way than kids who come from, or in their mind, they're forced to do things different way, because they're used to handling things a certain way outside of school, not knowing that they have structure set up in school to where they don't have to do it that way. So,
yeah, and being a youth and being young like that, they don't know. Like I said, when I was in high school, you don't know how to reach out to people like that. You don't know the avenues if no one has actually sat you down and talked to you or walked you through it. So you feel,
especially in small town USA.
yeah, and you have that little, you had that little, what I call that it's not fake, but you got that little false pride, and you let that little false pride get in front of you, and it'll stop you from asking for help. and that's a lot of barriers to break down right there. So when I hear what Chad said, and I understand what he's saying, and he was saying basically what I was saying also with them. They're youth. I don't care, like you say, I don't care what color, background, whatever. They're youth. They're youth, and they're learning. They're in the learning stage.
Right.
So they have to push those boundaries to see what they can get by with and what they can't.
And a lot of times people don't
And
realize
it's
that student kids who come from those single parent homes have to take on roles that
mm,
kids that come from uh, other family structures do not have to take on. They have to.
yeah.
I can remember when I was in Chicago, they had this girl who lived home. She had to clean. She had to do all these different things, these different roles
Babysit,
because
take care of
it
the
was
kids, take care
just
of the other
mom.
kids,
You know,
take care of the other kids, babysit her brothers and sisters or whoever.
that's right.
You get a lot of that. Go to the grocery store. You have to be the one to go to the grocery store and pick out the food. Stuff like that. When you think about it, and then you got to find time for your homework. Then you looking at these other kids running around
Right.
outside playing or doing whatever they want to do. So it's a lot. When you really have to have someone to communicate with them and have them to
Mm,
understand where they're at, in their situation and how to ask for help. That's the biggest thing.
right.
How to ask for help because a lot of youth
Great
do
point.
not want to. They do not want to ask for help.
Their pride is
So
too fragile.
yes, they don't want to be. I don't know what the words are they're using now, but they don't want to be slow or whatever word they're using. But yeah, it's really in our communities. That's why I keep going back to the community thing. Is uh, we all need help. Even the parents won't ask for help because a lot of single parents will say, "Well, y'all just want to look at me and say, blame me for something that goes wrong." So they get caught up in that blaming me thing and not okay. How can I get this help to help the whole family? you know. And
Right.
and I was going to say earlier when we had that first question, it's the me society. It's the I. We done gone through the I me society, and everybody got to get theirs. So
Hmm.
that's one of the biggest issues in America, if not across the world, but definitely in America. Is like everybody want to say they did this all by themselves. I ain't nobody done none of this by themselves. I know I
Right.
haven't. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I didn't. I had plenty of help.
Right.
So
Still.
yes, and I ain't ashamed to ask for some help right now. So, but
Right.
once
Right.
we can get over ourselves, and see what our youth need and open our ears to them, then I think we can move this thing forward in a better fashion, in a manner that is safe for all of us.
Right. Uh, let's go here. The importance of evolving. So, in order for us to know the importance of evolving, we must know what it means to evolve. And to evolve means to change or develop slowly, often into a better, more complex, or more advanced state to develop by a process of evolution. Some believe that birds evolved from dinosaurs. So, hey, so it's evolving is just change. Um, Trying to make sure that you become the best you that you can be. Now, mind you, sometimes situational situations um, deter that. Again, it's been an age old saying that trouble is easy to get into, but super hard to get out of. And with that being said, if you're getting in trouble from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15,
Mm.
now by the time that you're 13, it said that you are who you're gonna be as a young adult. And if that means that you're an AFU, it's probably not going to be much growth and evolution going on in your life because you're probably, again, consistently in trouble, or you're in and out of the juvenile facility, or you're consistently getting suspended or expelled from school. Or as an adult, like even as adults, that we're some shit. We just get a change. I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that. Not me. Well, how do you expect to take care of and provide, or how do you predict to change what's been hindering you forever without the evolution of change?
I
Alfred?
think that says a lot about actually about the society itself, because that we can't put off on the youth because they're only working with what we provide them with. So
Hmm.
yeah, they're only working with what we provide them with,
What you talking
and
about, Willis?
they're they're gonna take what we have and enhance it. That's what we would hope, that they would take it and
Right,
enhance it. But we're it's what we're handing down to them. What are we handing down to them? What are we gonna turn over to them? And that's when we have to start looking in the mirror at ourselves and questioning what it is we're doing as as adults in this society, and the changes that need to be made. Are we making those changes? Are we even considering? Because we're not, and especially in the criminal justice area. If you speak against criminal justice, man, it's like in this society, it's like you committed a crime just talking about, hey, how about we try restorative justice? How about we try restorative justice? How about we research it and at least research it? Let's think about it. If you say that, you trying to, hey man, what are you talking about? You talking crazy. They want to run you off to a loony bin,
Mhm.
because restorative justice talks about how we can prevent some of this stuff by exposing these things to our youth when they're younger. It's just like we learn criminal justice. It's a learned behavior, and
right,
we have to teach them how to treat each other, how we treat our neighbors, why we don't do this, why we don't do that, why you don't steal from your neighbors. Why your neighbor can leave the house and forget to lock the doors. You know what I'm saying? So,
right,
so we have to train the mind. We have to catch them when they're young, just like we teach them all this stuff. Uh, and the way it was explained to me is in the beginning, when we have our little bitty kids and they do something wrong, we spank them. Pow, pow, pow. We give punishment. We go we go straight to punishment. And then the punishment goes on in school. When they get to school, they have punishment. That's all they know about. They don't know about why shouldn't I do that prior to. So no one is discussing this with them. Okay, why we don't do this? Why we don't do
right,
that? How it affects the whole society, how what you do, your actions affect your neighbors, your family members, your community, your school. It does, but we don't discuss that way because we're so into punitive. We're so stuck on punitive consequences. They got to
hmm,
be hung. They got to be shot. They got to be locked away. Throw the key away. We're quick to do that. And
right,
when we can, as human beings, see each other as human beings, we can discuss these
Mhm.
things because none of us are perfect. I guarantee you,
hmm,
all of us do something within the day or the week that we shouldn't have done.
Right.
But by the grace of God, we just get caught. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think we have to change our mindsets and try to move forward with our mindsets for them to be able to follow.
I know when we're thinking about this, because the question was about how do we evolve, whether we're talking about young people or or adults or young people becoming an adult. There's some words that came to mind, and I kind of jotted them down as the question was being read. Process, purpose, plan, intentional, and adjustment. So those are the words that came to my mind. And that one thing we have to realize is we live in a microwave age where we want to be able to put it in and then just spit it back out. And guess what?
Right.
It's a process. It happens.
It's a process.
It happens over time. Like I said before earlier, I'm not the same person that I was when I was 18, or when I was 15, or when I was 25. It happened over time, and those are the things that's one of the things that we have to remember. And it starts with, what is our purpose? Like, what is it that I'm trying to get to, or where, or who am I, and who am I trying to be? And then coming up with a plan on getting there. And guess what? And everything that I'm gonna do, it has to be intentional towards me reaching, that purpose, that plan, and understand that there's going to be some adjustments on the way, because there's some things that's going to happen in between time that's going to throw a monkey wrench in the plan.
Yes.
And no, it's not going to happen instantaneous.
That's life.
That's life. And I think where we are now, the way that we operate now, we expect things we're in a result-driven society and not a process-driven society. We want it now. We don't want to wait.
Right.
And so it's like, I sometimes I counsel with parents and about student behavior, and so the parents are frustrated and upset about different things that's going on. And sometimes I tell them, I say, hey, look, Johnny didn't get messed up in the day. He ain't going to be fixed in the day. It's not going to be one consequence that's going to help him change. It's a process. It's going to have to happen over time, but you have to stick with the plan. Look, we're going to do it this way, or you're going to do it this way, or we're going to work together to get, Johnny on track. And it's going to take for us to be intentional and doing these different things and following through and doing it with some fidelity. You have to hold up your end of the bargain, and we're going to hold up our end of the bargain, and we're going to hold him accountable for hold up his end of the bargain. And you're going to see, in the end, you're going to see small little subtle changes and things is going to happen, but it's not going to be instant, So I guess, to sum it all up, if we start out with a purpose and a plan from the very beginning, all we'll be making is adjustments. But guess what? We have some people who are in a place right now that now we need to revamp. We need to create purpose and plan for this person, a purpose and a plan for this person, or they need to have a purpose for themselves.
Right.
And then we need to come up with a plan for that person. All right. And then follow through with it so that they can reach where they want to go.
Yeah. And to go along with what Chad is saying is when we're talking about this evolving thing as an adult right now, and thinking about the people that's coming behind us, we have to have an open mind that, like you said, what is it there? What Chad said was, what is it you're evolving to? So our idea of what evolving means is not going to be the same as those youth that's coming behind us, the people that's coming behind us, what they see evolving as. So we have to keep an open mind and saying, okay, it's may not look like what we thought it was going to look like, but it is evolving. and we can just direct it in a positive way. That would be, I think, a way to go about it. I would like to see it happen, but we can't tell the youth what their future going to be, because we don't know what exactly. I got 5 kids, and the last 2 just graduated college, so I couldn't have pointed each one of them and say, "Oh, you're going to be this, you're going to be that, you're going to be," because they are their own persons now. They are their own person, so they're out there, they're doing what they see as what God gave them to be. So that's between them and God. So right now, all I can do is direct them in the basic human. Uh, I give them the basic homegrown type of growth. You know, things to do, look out for, and I do that much. But other than that, I couldn't tell them what they were going to be in life and what was going to make them go out and want to live and take care of themselves with. So that's up to them. But I just said, you know, when we think about it, what we think about this evolution going to look like, it's going to be totally different from what they think it's going to look like, and we have to be ready for that.
All right, Chad, Meditra J says, how do you stay focused on the plan when everything for your plan is going south?
That's a pretty good question. So now it depends on what your plan is, and I don't know specifically what you're speaking to, but I could give you an example. Like, so again, I'm an educator, and actually I work in the discipline department, and so we develop when we have students who have some discipline issues. Um, we come up with a plan, but when we develop the plan, we have every person involved in the plan who's going to be affected. So you got to think, well, we have a student, we have their parents, and we have the school staff, and so every person is a equal participant and has some buy-in to um, the success of this young person. So, and I'm almost positive you're talking about some life situation. So I would make sure that I have insight from people are who are vested in the success of the plan, and anybody else who doesn't have anything to do with the success of the plan, they're not my focus, and I'll never be focused on those people or those entities or those situations, because they don't have a vested interest in the success of the plan. So if, like, for instance, if you have a business idea that you're trying to, to to cultivate, I would seek the advice of people who are successful in business, who are willing to help you cultivate the success in your plan. Or if it's, and I don't know what specifically you're speaking to, but you always have people who are vested in the success of you in whatever plan it is that you're trying to, and your plan and your purpose. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not a relationship or whatever expert, but I know in order for a plan to work, any plan to work, you have to have people vested in the plan, and you only listen to people and seek expertise from people who are successful in that realm, and they have to be vested in your success as well. So that's how you stay focused, and you seek encouragement from those people, because other people are not going to encourage you, or are not going to be as vested in the success of your plan. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I would add that you what I did, one of the things I did, I don't know if you are religious or or anything in that manner, but I actually prayed for my future, and then I had to sit in the mirror and honestly look at myself and my plan, and see where was I on this plan and where was I with this plan. And my thing is to reevaluate your plan always. Reevaluate your plan, see where it's headed, and then try to get it back on track. Uh, Try to get involved in things that are headed in the way you're trying to go. Because if you're following someone else's around, then you're going to get off your plan, off your track. But always reevaluate your plan. And I first pray on mine, and then I evaluate.
And don't look at the pitfalls as failure. It's it's just a challenge that you have to overcome. You got to be an overcomer of different things, and that's what nothing worth having is going to come easy. Um, Again, it may be a part of the process. Maybe those different pitfalls are a part of galvanizing what it is that you want and where you're trying to go.
All right, y'all. Man, we've come to the end of episode 4. I think we could have probably talked about a few more things, but we talked about a lot. We talked about a lot. And so in the process of all of this, what is life? What is it to live life? The absence of family structure and systems, the importance of health evolving, and purpose. You could talk about all that stuff forever in 10 days, but it really boils down to, and I'm gonna try to say this as simplistic as possible, and that is love with all of thy heart, because everything good comes from the heart. When you think about life and all that it offers, no one wants to go through heartache. No one wants to go through hardships. But you have to stay the course, and you have to have faith that no matter what, that you're gonna come out on the other side. Again, sometimes you have to go back to the base or to the basics. And Moses never worried. He knew God was going to part the Red Sea for him, and so he just kept on with his assignment. And that's what we have to be. We have to be. Chad said this earlier. We have to be overcomers in life. Adapt, adjust, overcome. When you do, good things happen. I've told my kids forever and a day. I think I said this in episode 1. If you do good, good will follow you all the days of your life. And a lot of great stuff is going to happen. So, hey, that's it. That's the final thought, man. Love with all of your heart. If you want a great family structure, lead with love. Choose love every day.
Communicate.
Trust the process.
Remember, get off the bench, get into the game.
God bless.